Shalom, is Levi Shore. Welcome back to Sweet and Good Torah. We have Rabbi Mordehay Darwish from the Gates of Mordecai, and we have a special guest. We have Jasmin today, who's going to bring the fire. And we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about the American Jewish experience. We're all coming from very different backgrounds. We're going to talk about our life here in America, what it's like. And we're going to kind of contrast it a little bit because what's going on in Israel, it's very crazy. It's day 275. The hostages have been in Gaza for that long. I think there's still 129 hostages. We don't know exactly how many, are still alive. Hopefully, Bezrat Hashem, many are still alive. And Israel's in a full-blown war with Iran. They have, they're fighting in Gaza. They're fighting on the north now with Hezbollah. It's heating up. The missiles coming in, and they're getting it from all directions, all being backed from Iran. Okay, I'll let everyone jump in with their intro, and we'll take it away. Who wants to
Okay,
go?
Mordehay, yalla.
All right, intro. I
Are you?
don't know what intro we got. We're just gonna, since we just passed through July 4th, and there were celebrations everywhere of Americans declaring their independence from Britain. So some Jews around the world, have come to question, like, where their place is. Like, do they identify more with the state of Israel, or they identify more with their local countries, such as the
Right.
American in America? And there's hot topics in the news all the time, and the conservative commentators usually siding with Israel. So other people, even on the conservative side, ask them, like, are you siding with them because you're Jewish, or you're siding with them because you think it's in the best interest of America to be with Israel? And so that dual loyalty comes into question a lot.
Hmm.
So
Yes.
we wanted to discuss it a little bit and see where each one of us thinks the table should lie.
Nice, sounds good.
Yes.
Jasmine, what do you got?
Yeah, so I was not born in this country. My family doesn't stem from the United States. I only live here for 16 years. And so, I love America. I love living here, but my loyalty will always be Israel, no matter what. And it's not the state of Israel, it's because I consider myself a Jewish woman, and we originate from Judea. Okay, Judea is currently the state of Israel. So even if I don't agree with the politics of the state of Israel, my loyalty is 100% always going to be towards Israel. That doesn't mean I'm not fighting against the Erev Rav and the government in Israel. But for me, like, let's say 2 days ago when we had the 4th of July, 3 days ago, I would not participate in a celebration because that day Israel got bombarded by rockets from Hezbollah, which we know was actually financed by the Obama administration. And the same day to celebrate the birthday of the United States of America, to me, is a conflict of my loyalty towards my country. At the same time, I'm really asking myself, how can we as Jews identify ourselves with the countries that we live in when we understand that we're only in exile? We are in exile, and our long-term goal is to go back to Eretz HaKodesh, to Eretz Israel, and to rebuild our temple and to greet Mashiach. And how can we be loyal? Loyal in the sense of, be so passionately concerned with everything going on with the country. Yes, we should pray for the welfare of the country because it affects us as well, of course, And I have no problems with American people. I have no problems with the Goyim at all whatsoever. But I'm a Jewish woman, and my identity is Jewish. אני יהודייה, זהו. There's nothing else. I don't care if my passport is American, Israeli, European. I'm Jewish, and that's all there is to it. And history taught us better. History taught us we got from every country we ever lived in, whether it was Morocco. Jews lived in Morocco since the destruction of the Second Temple. Okay, and the state of Israel only exists since 1948. So do the calculation. How long? Over thousands of years, Jews lived in Morocco, and they fled away from there. Okay, today in all the Arab countries where Jews lived for thousands of years, today you can barely count in any Arab country 50 people. Okay, In some countries, there are zero Jewish people left in the Arab countries. In Europe, Jews are fleeing from France. The chief rabbi of France told the Jews to pack up and leave and to move to Israel or go anywhere it's safe for you. So how can American Jews, rationally speaking, be so loyal towards America when history taught us we're safe nowhere? Anytime we have to pack up and leave. It can happen here too.
All right, Mordecai, you want to go first? You want me to jump in? What do you want to do?
Oh no, you go.
Okay. No, that's great. No, Jasmine bringing the fire. I love it. No, so right. So I think my family, like we've been here a little longer. We've been here like 5, 6 generations. We came in the late 1800s. So there was a number through 1800s. There was like pogrom after pogrom we were from Odessa. It's now modern day Ukraine. It was Russia. It was the Pale of Settlement. And right, we were getting it from the Russians. We were getting it from the Cossacks. And I heard the story from my grandfather's sister. It may have been that my great great grandfather and maybe my great great grandmother were killed in this pogrom. And then all the children had to kind of flee across Europe. And my great aunt, she told me that they went to chasanas, they went to Jewish weddings all throughout Europe. That's how they survived. They finally made it to London. And then some of the family went to South America, some came to North America. So we've been here a long time. So my grandfather and his 4 brothers, they were all in the American Army during World War II. They all fought in World War II. And I don't know. I guess I do, right. I do. When I had the opportunity to go to Israel for 6 years, learning Aisha Torah, we lived in the old city of Jerusalem. So it really changed my perspective somewhat on living in America. But the same regard, I think I'm just very ingrained to being, in, the Dulles, in America, the exile in America. And I just, right, like 4th of July, I'm just used to like, we do barbecue, we watch a baseball game, we go swimming. I don't know. It doesn't seem like something like that doesn't feel like it's taking away too much, from my Judaism. And then it's just appreciating being in this country. But in the same regard, right, like I do feel, I don't feel connected to everything that's happening, and I'm more like in the yeshiva world right now, so I am a little separated. All right, Mordecai, what do you got?
All right. So, and I got families from all over the Arab world, Iraq and Tunisia. We stopped over in Israel for a little bit, and now we're here in America a little bit. And so I got to see a little bit of everything. Again, honestly, obviously the Jewish people are our family. Let's get that started off, right? We're the sons of Israel, who was Yaakov, right? Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, right? And we're one of the 12 tribes, right? And we call them Judah, and we're the Jewish people. We're essentially a family, right? We trace back to Israel. So we're a family wherever we are, wherever we go, to whatever nation we go to. And obviously we want to be, we're strangers in the land, or just like we were strangers in Egypt, and if we have strangers in the land of Israel, strangers should always be treated with compassion and the like. But we're not stupid either, because like you guys mentioned, like in every exile, it started off good, but then it ended up very bad. We got, we kicked out and under horrible conditions. So, we can't be gullible to believe that, every place is going to last and be great to us, right? So in that respect, I keep my eyes open, eyes and ears open. But in terms of, the 4th of July and everything like that, thank God there's a place like America, because, I like its rebellious spirit, because what is 1776? It's like the American Empire breaking away from the British Empire, as I understood it, right? So they declared their independence from Britain. It wasn't, anything, other than that. So am I grateful that we have a place to, park our trailers and, live our lives? Yeah, it's amazing. Thank God. Am I going to go out and celebrate it? Yeah, I guess, I don't mind celebrating. I don't mind not celebrating it. You know what I mean? Like either way, it doesn't affect me either way. It's not a holy day per se, right? Because it wasn't God given, it's dictated by God to celebrate it as a holy day. But it could be a national day of just like, having fun and joy and that kind of stuff and appreciative. Yeah, I guess so. Am I celebrating that, the actual independence? That was a long time ago. I don't
It's
feel so
long term.
independent of Britain. I don't feel so independent of Britain. I don't even see Britain. You know what I mean? I can't even stand their accents. Sorry, guys.
Right.
My British people out there. I love you guys, but I can't stand their accents. It's I think American is the proper English. You know.
The the
so
best thing
yeah,
about the best thing about the United States is the Constitution for sure. Like the Constitution is a masterpiece. We can all agree on that. I think it was divinely inspired. I think that the Constitution is something we should always uphold in the highest regard and try to protect it, even as Jews living here. It's a very, very good constitution. However, things have changed so dramatically in this country, like historically never before. It should put us at high alert. What's going on now with the Democratic Party to literally implement communism in this country fully fledged. Trump is trying to, change it and save the day, but he's not going to be Mashiach ben Yosef and he's not going to be Mashiach ben David. So we already know, we cannot really bank on him too much. If I don't see the point of voting, but if you have to vote for Trump, of course. But let's be honest, okay? He's not going to be Mashiach. And they have a plan. They have a plan that exists for a long time already, and they want to overthrow democracy. Not that I think democracy ever existed, but they want to overthrow democracy altogether. And whether it's going to be Biden or Obama is just a Trojan horse. They want to bring back communism. So Jews in America are, conflicted with something they have never seen in history before happening in the United States of America, that their freedoms are being snatched under their nose. And we Jews, we should have always been, prepared for this because of history. Even Jews who live here for 6 generations, their ancestors lived even longer in Eastern Europe or other countries. And there's no reason to ever feel secure in any other land other than Israel. In any other land other than Israel. I'm not talking about the Israeli government, other than Israel, because this is our homeland, and this is where we are destined to be. This is where we're coming from, and this is where we're going to be at the end.
All right, Jasmin's bringing the fire. Oh, I say like, right. So there have been Jews that have been here a while, and I do feel with all the political instability, with I think like October the 7th, and then all the like the protests and the rioting around the world of like the Palestinian activists and the people supporting, like literally just supporting Hamas, which is crazy to watch, and like certain American celebrities, really revealing, and the politicians, celebrities, some revealing, they really, support the Jewish people, they're for the Jewish people, and unfortunately, there's some that are really revealed they're shtickle anti-Semitic there. They got some stuff going on. But I do feel like, right, like I mean, we all know the history, we all have family history, and I do feel like it's becoming, much more unstable in America than it's been. But also, Bizrat Hashem, me and Mordecai argue about this back and forth. I do feel like we are very close to Mashiach, and we're seeing Hashem start to lay the groundwork. So all the fighting in Israel, the instability here, I feel like, Hashem's getting ready to bring everyone home. I'll let you have the word on that one.
Yeah, definitely things are heating up and everything like that. And that's why I said keep your ears and eyes open, at every single second. But like, I don't see myself as at home, quote unquote, anywhere in the world. You know what I mean? And that includes Israel, because like if we don't have God's protection, then it doesn't matter where we're at. You know what I mean? There's nothing protecting us. You know what I mean? Anybody could fight. Could I fight with 100,000 people? Okay, that might give me a little bit more of a buffer of protection, but like a nuclear bomb just destroys us that much more quicker, right? It doesn't. If you don't have God's protection, it doesn't matter where you're at, whether you're walking in the streets of Brooklyn or you're, walking in the streets of Jerusalem. It doesn't matter. You could, just innocent person just walking and being stabbed out of the blue, like the soldier in the mall got stabbed the other day and in the neck, and he was a soldier with guns on him, and his buddy was right next to him. So I mean, if you don't have God's protection and it's decreed by heaven, then your nationality or your locale, it really doesn't matter.
But
That
yeah,
that's what I believe. You know
I
what I
think
mean? Yeah,
Jews should not.
don't put your faith in men. Like you put your faith in men, it doesn't end up well. It doesn't matter where they are. The Jews, the first temple was destroyed, millions of people died. The second temple was destroyed, millions of people died. That was in Israel. So this whole propaganda that if we're safe in Israel, if we're in Israel, we're going to be safer, and that's not true because the one nuke just clears the way that much more quicker.
Right, but Jews are not supposed to have a nationality per se. We're not supposed to be parts of another country and make this part of our identity. We always have to act and live as Jews. And whenever we lived in Eastern Europe, for example, and we lived in shtetls and ghettos on the borders of the countries, we were the most Jewish and the most observant. And whenever we lived in metropolitan areas, we lost our identity and we lost our Torah and didn't practice as much. Later, in later times, it kind of balanced it a little bit. But back in the days, a lot of Jews disappeared, basically, just because they lived in the inner cities. So I don't think, of course, I cannot speak for Hashem, but I believe what Hashem wants from us is to be secluded, to not be involved in politics, to be away from the noise, practice Torah. Why? Because we have to bring Mashiach for the entire world. And the show is going to happen in Eretz HaKodesh. And even if you say, yes, we can go to Israel without Hashem's protection, we can all be nuked. That's true. No, nonetheless, we are Judeans, okay? We come from Israel. That's our land. That's where we stem from. And that is the GPS for all of us. And I think American Jews in particular have to start peeling themselves off of this I'm American, I'm an American Jew, because it's contrary to this whole Mashiach thing that we're trying to accomplish. Like, if you're so comfortable here in the United States, you don't need Mashiach. Why do you need the Bet HaMikdash, Like, you're good where you're at, it's comfortable here, it's good here. And to be honest, I feel we're in exile as a punishment. We're supposed to, not to say that we're supposed to complain every day, but we're supposed to kind of weep and cry and, pray to Hashem to let us back into the Holy Land. This is supposed to be in our prayers, in our hearts. And we cannot all the time talk about, I'm a proud American Jew, America, America. What's the purpose of Mashiach? Like, what is it all about?
Okay, so no, I like what you're saying there. I mean, right. I think that's part of the problem. We're not united right now. We're still spread out around the world. Right, we have different titles. Like you have like a American Jew, a British Jew, an Israeli Jew, right? And that's the kibbutz goliath. That's the ingathering of the exiles when we all just become Jews again. And if we look at the famous Mordecai, even more famous than our Mordecai, Mordecai, in the Megillas Esther, in the time of Mordecai and Esther, the Torah just describes him as Ish Yehudi, just a Jewish man, right?
Yeah.
Just that's going to be the end of the exile when we're all back in the land of Israel and we're just Jews again, or more accurately, when we're even the Shvatim, when we're even each of the 12 tribes, each with this special aspect of that tribe. I mean, we're called the Yehudim, the Jews, because of the great tribe of Yehuda, David HaMelech, King David, and the great line of King David, Mashiach ben David and Mashiach ben Yosef. But there's going to be 12 aspects of Jews when we really get aligned again. And then, the holy Levium and the Kohanim. So, right, we're right. We're in exile. We're spread out. We're not really fully what we're supposed to be yet. And hopefully, we can all come back together soon.
No, 100%. You're not going to get any disagreement with me on that. It's like, how do you, how do you relate to the things? Like, it seems like Jasmine's like, you guys are like wasting your time. You know what I mean? Maybe I don't want to say ingratiating yourself, but identifying yourself so much with the lands that you currently reside in. And that's not your purpose. Your purpose is not to identify with the land. Your purpose is to be true to your identity. And yeah, 100%. You got to be true to your identity. Try to be true to who you are. And eventually, yeah, God's going to gather us and gather us. It depends. Like some people, they've lost their identity as Jews because they don't follow the Torah, right? Or they follow it somewhat, if it rolls along with their life. If it doesn't roll along, then they put their life first. And other people, don't adhere to it at all, so they have nothing to fall back on. So the question is like, who's guiding you? Is the Torah guiding you, like Jasmin's saying? And in which case, like, that's what you should be focused on. You seclude yourself, do what you got to do with your prayers and your learning, and pray for us to be redeemed from the exile, and have our own homeland with our temple and bring the godly light into the world. Or are you just counting the days till you're death?
Mm.
And in which case you want to make it as pleasant as possible in the land that you live.
Mm.
Yeah. Some Jews, they just lost it. They are, as far as they're concerned, they are fully fledged Americans, and that's what they live for. That's what they're gonna die for. And the Judaism is completely in the back of their minds. And I don't
I think
see.
I honestly think the state of Israel is the blame for that, because for the first time in history, the state actually, I mean, like, it legitimized being secular. It legitimized being wicked in the eyes of God, in the eyes of the Torah. That place legitimized being, I can be a countryman, and not have to do with God and not have to do with my people, with my nation. And
Yeah,
so
but
when these people, when those people who left Israel, you know what I mean, came to these foreign lands, after around the 60s and 70s, they just assimilated. They're like, hey, this place treats me better. What do I need that place for? You know what I mean? Why would a Jew leave the land of Israel? Because the
but
conditions aren't good, right? The people there aren't good to them, so they leave, and that's what they've done. They left because the conditions weren't there, and there's no intrinsic connection to your nation over there. And so they came here. They came for greener pastures. I mean, why else would you go? And so they have
yes,
greener
but
pastures here, and they like it better here.
yeah, but we know as observant religious Jews that our conditions are not good if we don't do what we're supposed to do. So it's not, we cannot blame the
Well,
governments. We cannot blame.
according to the Ramchal, there's two aspects of the way God runs the world. Sometimes he runs it with strict judgment, like you're talking about, like if you don't do what he does, then it won't be good. And sometimes he just gives a lot of leeway, and which he runs it with a lot of mercy, and in which case you don't see it, you don't see the judgment, and so you have that longer leash to do what is antithetical to his way, and so you won't feel what you're talking about. You know what I mean? You could live your whole life in pleasantness and not for a second live it,
But
under that rule.
whether you live in Israel or here, all you should be occupied with is your studies of Torah and your observance and serve Hashem. And that's what makes us Jews. And when it
Yeah.
comes to gratitude, we are the grateful people. We are Jews. We are grateful, but we know who to address it to. We're supposed to be grateful to our Creator. He's the one who sustains us on a daily basis. Our health, our parnasa, our nutrition, everything comes from him, and a Jew knows that at all times. He knows that good or bad likewise comes from above, from our Creator. And therefore I don't do Thanksgiving dinners, and I don't do all the other Mickey Mouse stuff. you know I don't do it because I know, like, who am I grateful to? Like, Biden or
So,
Obama,
so,
or
so
who am I
no
praising
Mother's
here?
Day, no Mother's Day
Huh?
or Father's Day, no Mother's Day or
I
Father's
don't do
Day.
no Mother's. It's Mother's Day every day of the year
Yeah,
since
I
I
think
gave birth.
I thought it was Mother's Day 365. I had a feeling. Let me just
Correct.
let me just comment here. No, so the idea, like the Jewish separation from Torah. I mean, this sad state. Unfortunately, as we just get out of Parsha Korach, I mean, there's been this taiva, Yetzer Hara, from the very beginning. Unfortunately, I mean, we see in the days of Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses himself, Moshe who speaks face to Hashem and brings the Torah down. Even in his day, we could have someone like a Korach, someone that's extremely wealthy, someone for his own honor, his own fame. Like he even gets, because he wants to be a leader, that he starts to deny the whole Torah. He starts to go against all the mitzvahs, like the Midrashim, say he starts to go against the whole Torah. So unfortunately, right, there is this Yetzer Hara from the beginning. But I don't know. I mean, this is like the sad thing. I mean, we can blame like so many people, but I don't know. It's one of the main problems of being in Golis, I think, or what exile I think is supposed to cure or fix, is that when we feel alone, when we feel like the minority, when we feel like we're surrounded by the majority, of people that aren't following the Torah, aren't Jewish, and we have these horrible things happen, like, October the 7th, I think those are the things that starts to push us back together. We have this great tragedy of the Holocaust. We don't want these things, but this starts to bring the Jewish people, it starts to fix us. It starts to bring us back together, which is, I don't know, if anyone's ever experienced this, like, when your kids are fighting, I'm fairly calm, but when my kids are fighting, I start to lose it. I start to snap. And I think that's what it's like with Hashem. It's like
Why?
Hashem wants, I don't know what it is. It's something deeply ingrained. It's like you want the best for your children. And the last thing in the world you want is them fighting with each other. And that's what I
Why?
think Hashem wants for us. He doesn't want the Jewish people fighting with each
Yeah,
other. Yeah.
Why not?
yeah.
Jasmine, you want to take it?
Yeah,
Why
for
not?
sure. Like when your kids are fighting, that's they can talk to you any which way you want. They choose sometimes. You give them a lot of leeway, but when they start fighting each other, that's it. No, that's it for sure.
And
Why?
that
You guys don't think like why that's such a bad thing?
Because I
They
know
just
to
fight
you
each
it
other?
means they take care of each other and each other.
No, I'm saying no, because if you're a team, right? If you view yourself as a team, then you fighting is not gonna, it's better to work together than to work apart. You know what I mean? And you're fighting, then you don't see yourself as a team. You don't see like you want the betterment of the other person. And if you really are on a team, then it doesn't behoove you to fight. You know what I mean? It doesn't do anything to you. It just destroys your cause. And so you being the God figure, in their life, the dad or the mom, you're the God figure. So then you see that and you're like, what are you guys doing? You're destroying the team. You're destroying the company. You know what I mean? Like, why are you fighting? So it's better you guys be separated, each one go off to their own corner. And when you learn how to act properly, then you come back together. You know what I mean? And that's kind of like what's going on, where it's spread out throughout the world. We didn't know how to act properly. I still we think we don't know how to act that properly. That's why we're still out here. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like a punishment. But there's also deep spiritual reasons too, that it says that we're supposed to gather in some converts that that are all over the world, and that we're supposed to preach to them, but they see us and they want to attach to us and join to us, especially now that we know they're sincere when Israel is not on top, and because in the future when we will be on top, we won't be able to accept the converts. So it's your last chance, guys out there.
No, it's a great point. It's like, well, by the way, we're under 10 minutes. We got a 10-minute warning. But no, it's funny when you said that about the exile and like Hashem separating us. It's the same. Like when my kids are fighting, it's like you go to one side over here, you go to the other side of the house. You guys stay away from each other. And they still sometimes they magnetically pull into each other. Just stay away. It's like sometimes we need that separation to, come back together. But that's the thing. It's like I like your muscle about the sports team. You never hear a championship team say, "Oh, we couldn't stand each other. We were fighting. It's all we did." No, it's like, "Oh, we really work well together. We really liked hanging out with each other." And that's what the Jewish people need. We need that unity back. And then we can accomplish great things. Like that's what's going to get us into Yemot Mashiach, is like
Yeah.
us finding, good qualities instead of arguing over politics and this and that. Us finding that, our common experience as Jewish people, can pull us back together. Jasmine, let me get you.
Yeah, so unity, yes, but amongst Jews, we're not all Jews, and that's gonna come more and more to light. We're not all Jews, okay? They call themselves Jews, but they're not Jews. The nine
Erev
Supreme Court judges
Rav,
in Israel. the 9 Supreme Court judges in Israel just announced that it's the law in Israel that all the religious have to do full service in the army. They are totally Erev Rav, and we know that the Knesset is controlled by Erev Rav, and it's written in our books all over. Erev Rav are going to, lead the country in the end of days. So we're not all going to be united. Actually, we're going to separate us from the foul apples, okay? And the true Jews who are Torah observant and serve Hashem and not whatever they want to call it, Moloch or Shet Yodea. We're going to be the ones united. We're going to have Mashiach, and they're going to disappear. Bezrat Hashem b'karov.
Oh man.
Okay, I do think but I do think at this point it's hard to sort out, and we can have some ideas, who's Erev Rav, who's not, but there are Jews that just don't have the Torah education. They don't just have the knowledge of the Torah, and when their neshamas get that Torah knowledge, their neshamas are gonna burst into light again. We don't because it's a little hard to tell. Some it's just through like we talked about Rambam before in one of our previous videos. It's that lack of knowledge. It's that lack of knowledge of Hashem, that lack of knowledge of the Torah. And that's
why... It's not an excuse anymore. It's not an excuse anymore. Hashem gave us the internet. You cannot use it as an excuse in our times anymore. That is passé. That is long time ago. Today, with the internet, sorry, it's raining here, Mabul. I don't know if you hear the rain. But with the internet and with your shiurim and shiurim of Mordehay and other great rabbis, there's no more excuses for a lack of Torah. Even a person who never stepped up.
She's got a point. Either with us or against us. Either with us or against us. That's she's got a point over there. I can't argue with that. You know what I mean? Like okay, you could say if a person's sits it out and says like I don't know anything, that's fine. But like if they're antagonistic, you know what I mean, and they're going actively doing stuff against us, like she was talking about, like those crazy judges or any kind of courts in Israel that are secular, and they're off. They're not for the nation. I don't know. They're in like the Illuminati. Up in the New World Order crowd or whatever. They're getting paid somewhere else because the decisions they're making don't make sense if you care for your nation. You know what I mean? If you care for your people, the decisions they're making are absolute asinine. You know what I mean? Their military generals don't know what they're doing. Either they don't know what they're doing and they're incompetent, which is hard to believe, with all their training and everything like that, or they're pure evil and they got other agendas and they want to put on a show. Yeah, if you're against us at this point, you're Erev Rav. Like
there was one religious general in the army. They kicked him out. I forgot his name.
Yeah, I think it was Ofer Winter. He was rising
they
up
got rid of him very fast.
Yeah, and they got rid of
that's flat out Erev Rav. If you don't know, you don't know. You just sit, you're quiet. You're like, okay, whatever. I'm just watching. That's fine. That's the ones you're talking about, Rabbi. Sure, but if you're antagonistic at this point with all the knowledge that's out there, then you got to be Erev Rav, and you know what I mean. And you shouldn't even. You should be. I'm embarrassed that people call you Jewish. I'm embarrassed. You know what I mean? Because you don't represent. God. You don't represent God, and you don't represent the Torah. You don't represent His way. You know what I mean? You are part of the family because you came out of Egypt and all that. You might be part of the family, but you're like the bad child, the black sheep of the family. You know what I mean? Even though you got the megaphone, you got the microphone right now. But that'll change one day.
Yeah, no, I was talking about on Shabbos, right? It's a very dangerous situation Israel's in right now because this is the time we really need Hashem's help. It's like a massive war like they've never seen. And so for the Israeli government to stop funding the yeshivas, now the state of Israel has lost that incredible amount of merit they had from supporting Torah. And it's very dangerous. And then I found what's interesting is these big Gedolim came over to Lakewood, and they were raising money for Torah. They raised an incredible amount, millions of millions. I mean, I think over like 100 million maybe. And it's interesting because that's going to be an incredible amount of merit for the Jewish people in America, which is good. But like it's very scary for the Jews in Israel right now because they really need the merit and the protection. Hashem's protection. To lose all that merit of Torah, it's very dangerous. We're about down to a little over 3 minutes. If everyone wants to get their final shot, I just want to say one final thing. I said, Queen Jasmin has ruled. Every Jew, you need to do teshuvah now. That's it. Time's up. Let's get our act together. Let's get Mashiach here. Here, I'll let you guys finish it up here.
Yeah,
Mordecai,
she's definitely right. Like what? I mean, what did she say? She's saying something anti God. Is she saying something bad? You know what I mean? It's just like the Ten Commandments in the classroom. Is it something bad? Is it something they came not from God? Like God forbid. You know what I mean? If you see something wrong with that, then the problem's with you. You got to check yourself. You know what I mean? You're unholy. You're unpure if you go against that message. You know what I mean? And it's about time we just stop this BS. Be honest with the Israelis and even the Americans here. If all the Torah observant Jews left Israel, what kind of country would they have? What identity to Judaism would they have? What backlash or statement could they say to the Arabs there? We want the land because of what exactly? You know what I mean? Your whole identity goes out the window without Judaism, without the Torah, without God. So
Yeah, I don't have much to add to that. It's correct. And we have to get idols out of our system, whatever motivates us, whether it's money, business, relationships, esteem, it doesn't matter. We have to humble ourselves, serve Hashem in the way He told us to serve Him. And let's bring Mashiach. And we have to be very alert about the Erev Rav in our government, in Israel. Not support them in any form or fashion. And if it means to not send, I'm sorry to say, if it means don't send your child to the military in Israel, I would not send my child to the military in Israel. It's like sacrificing your child to Moloch. I would not send my child in Israel to the army. And that's not because I'm not supporting my country. It's the opposite. The opposite, because this government only wants to kill and see as much blood as possible, and we should not support that. And here in America, we have to know we're not Americans. I'm sorry, American Jewish people. You're not Americans. You're Jews, okay? Eventually, this is how Hashem always played it at the end. The nations will show us that we're Jews, okay? We're not Moroccans. We're not Egyptians. We're not Spanish. We're not Germans, not Polish, not Hungarian, not Russian, not Chinese, and we're not Americans. Sorry, I'm very, very sorry. Okay, so that's all I have to say, and hopefully the Geulah is going to come in peace, Rachmanut, a lot of mercy from Shamayim.
Amen.
And
the
Zohar. We got to let the Zohar.
All right, so we're under a minute, so I'm just going to wrap it up. All right, man, Sparty World, it's got to go. It's Yashar, it's right now. All right, so I hope everyone enjoyed it. I'm sure the comments are going to be flying in the comment section. I forgot to say at the beginning, everyone, please like, share, subscribe, all the great stuff. We hope to have you all back, and we hope to have our great special guest star, Jasmin, back at some point. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, and we hope to see everybody soon, and we hope for better times, pretty soon. All right, all the best.